This video for Project Hack 23 is covering Challenge 2B, which is all about leveraging lessons learned to point out potential project potholes. We are Team 2B or not to be, and there's a picture of us all happily hacking away. This challenge is all about extracting key themes and lessons from assurance reviews and using those to identify potential project issues before they escalate. So we're talking here about the retrieval and application stages mostly of lessons learned. The source data we've been given was mostly in the form of PDF files from assurance reports and from Freedom of Information request responses. The documents contained information about the project that was being scored, so the type of project and the stage that it was at, and also, as you would expect, some concerns, evidence and recommendations with stories linking those observations to the recommendations in the report. Challenges in that data set was that the data was very wordy. There was hardly anything quantitative, and because we're at a hack, the information was very heavily redacted. So it was quite hard to infer some of the context-specific information from it, but we went with what we could get. The approach we took was to feed the PDF documents into Copilot to identify common themes and to give some sort of scoring to the qualitative data in the reports. And there's some examples of the prompts that we use there. We spot checked Copilot's assessment of the documentation for veracity and to make sure it wasn't hallucinating. We captured this into a new Excel spreadsheet to use as a database. And in that Excel model, we classified the lessons according to the standardized categories that we extracted using the Copilot. The tool that we are producing as a minimum viable product is a dashboard that contains a bank of lessons learned that ideally would be used at the start of a project to identify pitfalls that have come up on similar previous projects.
This is the To Be Sure app. The user is presented with a screen to select their role. We select the project manager here, then presented with a screen of the type of project they're running and the number of recommendations we've got in our data set. Select that, and then they select the lifecycle phase of the project that they're operating. When they're selected that, they're presented with all the key issues and the severity rating that are present in that type of project from our data analysis. Also got a list of all the assurance reports that are available for that type of project. When they click into a particular area, users are then presented with the details of those particular issues, including the impact in the cause and indicators, which indicate whether their kind of like performance is on track. Users can then kind of like click the link to complete a health assessment.
So we fed our risk log into the risk management coach large language model, and we've asked it to identify gaps and things that are missing essentially in our risk log. It's responded by providing us with a table of gaps and issues that we can download. So I've done that, and that's it in Excel. You can see there's some common categories there, so we could pivot this data and we could come up with these here. So we can see there's many instances where default values or placeholders are used, and there's a recommended action as to what to do about these. And if we want to, we could explode it further and we could identify the individual risks that are affected by that warning.
Once a health assessment is completed, the rating can be added and any actions that the project needs to take, this can be saved. And this is added to the report. We can then export a report that will kind of summarize up all the ratings and any actions the project needs to take. Going back to the dashboard, if we look at the portfolio manager, this will take a link out to the portfolio manager dashboard for greater analysis.
Created a dashboard which showcased the results we had from using AI and Copilot and Excel to comb through data of past reports to allow us to do some trend analysis and future broadcasting. We looked at the distribution of risks, categorizing them into the categories shown above. We did a risk rating, and then we also did associated risk levels as well. After we looked at the risk levels, we then looked at the areas of good practice. There are a few key areas we identified, and these are helpful in showing what projects did well on top of the risks they posed. We also looked at resource and skill management, specifically personnel availability, managing resources, and the event resource shortages and the severity of those. This dashboard also then allows us to go into granular detail, selecting whichever categories based on themes, strategic alignments, and lifecycle stages. This filters all the data based on what our project is going to be about. We can see the associated risk levels, risk categories, where the projects have succeeded in the past, as well as some of the issues they've had in regards to resources and skills.
Aspirationally, we would like to develop this into some sort of large language model that could be routinely fed with project documentation that crops up on the project. So, for example, business cases, RAID logs, status reports, and that type of thing, and would volunteer predictions and recommendations about where the project is most likely to end up based on its current trajectory. So, I guess what we're talking about here is kind of like a reworking of Clippy for the digital age, and a whole lot less annoying, we hope. Here are the judges' questions, and to answer those, how does your solution differentiate between general and project-specific risks? Well, we provided for that by enabling you in the Data Explorer to filter by project type and stage, which enables you to see only the risks that are relevant to that project at that stage, or rather that type of project at that stage. How will your solution's database ingest future reports to keep up to date? Well, in the short term, we would feed reports into the Copilot for assessment using the prompts that we developed there, and the data that comes out of that would be added to our Excel model. In the longer term, we would also feed project artifacts, so risk logs, status reports, and all that sort of stuff into the large language model, which wouldn't be just a risk management coach, it would be a general project management coach for assessment against good practice and recommendations to be made. How has your solution's front end been designed for the optimum user experience? Well, the interface that we've created for the data browser features large, clear buttons that easily show you very clearly what you're doing, and the solution has been implemented in Power Apps for easy operation. So it's just a question of clicking buttons, and it's available to everybody. In terms of commercial considerations for the further development of this product, it's about the data really. So it would be about drawing from a wider pool of reports, maybe subject to data sharing agreements, so that we wouldn't need any redaction, which would give us a much richer information set and therefore far more detailed insights. And that's it from us.